What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Another episode of the Mikey Pipes HVAC Training YouTube channel video. Got something a little different today that falls in the category of plumbing and probably also fuel gas code because, that's not legit. But this is for educational purposes only, and it will be disconnected at the conclusion of this instructional video. So pull up your pants, fix your belt, tie your boot laces. Let's get rocking and rolling because today we're going to demystify how your atmospheric venting gas-fired water heater works with the Millivolt pilot generator. Now, folks, yesterday this water heater was decommissioned and a brand new 2025 model was installed. Manufacturer date on this water heater reveals that it's 11 years old. Build date of May 16, 2024. It's one of the great things about the A.O. Smith water heaters. Not only are they proudly made in the United States, in South Carolina, but they're reliable, dependable, and they last. With this tank, there was not tank failure. Now, we take a notice of the screen at the bottom, completely filled up with dirt and lint. How do you think this water heater is going to get its fresh air for combustion if the screen is filthy? Nonetheless, let's review. This water heater has not been modified, repaired. I just took the liberty of reversing the main burner and made it visible so we can see how the process works inside that combustion chamber. Before we get started, let's do a quick little overview. I am a firm believer that you need to have situational awareness with a motto that a good technician is observant of their surroundings. We're going to have this A.O. Smith. It's a 50-gallon water heater, uses 40,000 BTUs of fuel gas per hour to burn, which means, according to the International Fuel Gas Code, I need to use a 4-inch flue pipe, not 3-inch, minimum of 4. Do you notice any deficiencies with the way this water heater was installed? Now, granted, there's no diverter or exhaust piping on top of the water heater, but one thing that should stand out right away is that temperature and pressure safety valve, which goes off at 150 psi or 212 degrees Fahrenheit of temperature. Well, the drip leg looks like it's been dripping. And it's also needs to be noted that it is not the required length. It's not. The International Plumbing Code, I believe it's section 504.6 for water heater discharge piping, right? There's a lot of rules that apply to that pipe, but most importantly, guys, remember this. It needs to terminate no more than 6 inches off the floor, okay? And no less than 1 pipe diameter. Got that? But there's a lot going on with that. I suggest you guys consult with the section 504.6 and then the International Residential Code, section 20804, something like that, where we deal with discharge cannot be connected to a drainage system, things of that nature, right? Also, the acceptable uses of discharge tubing. Right? A lot of jurisdictions, the AGH, the authority having jurisdiction, they fry upon metals like black steel piping. It could rust and clog up. But keep that in mind, folks. Do your clients a service by providing professional service. And when you're replacing the water heater, or if you're working on a water heater and there's no drip leg, what's going to happen if Mrs. Jones is doing her laundry and that water heater malfunctions, right? And it discharges 150 degrees of water temperature. Sorry, no, wrong. 210 degrees of water temperature out of that relief valve without a drip leg on it. Mrs. Jones is going to get severely burned instantly at that temperature, right? Or if it goes off on pressure, it's going to scare the bejesus out of her. So put a drip leg on and make sure it's the right length. We're also going to notice someone took the liberty and took a Sharpie and wrote May 2014 on the top of the water heater. Let's take a look at the serial number and the warranty of this water heater and confirm and validate what this water heater warranty is. All right, folks, I pulled up the A.O. Smith app. You can also go to hotwater.com, which brings you to the same destination if you use the app. I typed in the serial number, hit verify. There's the serial number. There is the model. We have a manufacture date of May 17, 2024. Weird how the build date is May 16th, 2014. And the water heater expired the warranty on May 16th, 2024. And there are all the parts for it. And it was never registered because there's nothing there. So, now that we have identified the model, we identify that it's a 10-year model, and that's also indicated by the model number. The XCV typically is 10-year. Does not mean that it's still under warranty. This could have been a warranty replacement, so keep that in mind, guys. Now, I have a 1/2-inch nipple going into my gas control valve. I have a 3/4 by 1/2-inch black T, so I can accommodate a 3-inch drip leg with a cap. Another nipple. I use a 90 here and 5 feet of 3/4-inch pipe that I threaded, and I connected to our gas supply here at the training facility. Let's pop open the gas here, and let's start by doing a gas purge. Yep, I smell gas. Let's put that drip leg cap back on, and let's give this a little more than hand tight. Again, this is just for training purposes only. Do not try this at home unless you're a qualified individual. All right, now that we have gas to our gas control valve, or at least we should, right? That's a given. Let's talk about the components. This white and black box with that black dial, with this indicative instruction sheet on it, which tells you what the flashes mean, that is called your gas control valve. This particular gas control valve is a millivolt gas control valve, which means it utilizes a pilot generator. Unlike some other manufacturers or older models where they use a thermocouple, this uses a much larger pilot sensing device, indicated by this piece right there, which looks like that. You see how fat that is, folks? It's safe to admit that this thermocouple is much thinner than this pilot generator. And the reason for that is that this thermocouple will generate between 30 and 35 millivolts of power when it's new and properly working. And this will generate upwards of 500 millivolts. So much, much more greater power. Now, why do we need this instead of this? Well, geniuses, right? And not plumbing guys or HVAC guys decided to reinvent the wheel, and now we had to dumb down or make these things much smarter. Do I need a light to tell me what the water heater is doing? I don't, but maybe some people do. But nonetheless, because of that operational light, you need a lot more voltage, but you also notice this doesn't plug into anywhere. And if you have no power in your home, if during a power outage, a storm, what have you, you didn't pay your electric bill, you'll still have hot water as long as you paid the gas bill. All right? Back to our gas control components. So that's the gas control valve. This is the main burner. The silver tube, the thinner one, is our pilot burner gas supply tube. The larger one is the main burner gas supply tube. Right there. That is our pilot burner. That's our pilot generator. There's our little spark igniter right there. Now, on the closer to the cover, which makes this a sealed combustion unit, we have this flame rollout or high temperature sensor. If there's ever improper combustion and you have just a boom, for example, that's going to kill the power going to the gas valve and prevent operation until it is clicked in and reset. Make sense? Perfect. Let's fire this bad boy up. We're going to set our gas control valve to pilot. Push that down. Now, if it's not exactly on pilot, you won't be able to push it down. So make sure it's pushed down all the way. We're going to hold that down for a minute. And I'm going to use the piezo igniter. And we're going to light that flame. Okay? I'm going to kill the lights in the shop. There is that pilot flame. You see that, folks? And I have a white light flashing one time on my gas control valve. If I let go of the knob or the plunger on that gas control valve, that should stay on. If it does not stay on, the light's lying to you, or you're not reading the error code properly, and we have a control issue, whether it's the pilot generator not producing the right amount of flame. We could have a dirty pilot burner. Now, watch what happens when we turn this on. Hopefully I don't die here. Houston, we have ignition. So we have ignition on this 11-year-old water heater. 1 year outside of warranty. What is transpiring now that was not transpiring during the service call where this water heater was recommended to be replaced? If you guys paid close attention, when I went to touch that resettable button on that high temperature sensor, we heard a little click. Why do we hear a little click? Because it was out on safety. Why was it out on safety is the million-dollar question. And if you are a good technician and observant of your surroundings, that whole situational surrounding awareness, situational awareness, you'll know that the reason for failure here was the dirty air inlet screen at the bottom of the water heater. This water heater was starving for fuel. No? Wrong. This water heater was starving for combustion air to have proper and sustainable flame because of a lack of maintenance. Look at that. You can't make this up, folks. Don't neglect your water heater. You can easily extend the life of your client's hot water heating equipment or water heating equipment. It's not a hot water heater. You're not heating hot water, folks. If you ever have someone call your water heater a hot water heater, they need to get educated and educate them that it's not a hot water heater, it's a water heater. And you can guarantee that in stone. You're not heating hot water. But you can easily extend the life expectancy of your client's water heating products by performing recommended maintenance on a periodic scale. For example, with this A.O. Smith water heater, we have an anode rod located at the top of the unit. If we take that out after the first year or two of operation, we can judge the water quality and how bad it is or how good it is and what the frequency is that we need to replace that anode rod. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't really know any other plumbing contractors that actually replace anode rods. I know my company does because it's building value with the client. Anode rod, check that after the first year or two of operation. If it looks great, check it into year 3. and replace it once it starts to really deteriorate and needs to be replaced, because the anode rod is a sacrificial metal rod located inside the tank, inside that water column, and the water is going to attack that rod first. It's a sacrificial rod. Once that rod is gone, or there's very little of it left, the water is going to start to attack the tank. And yes, the water heater is glass lined, but how many water heaters have you replaced that have failed because the tank has failed? Glass lined, huh? Okay, yeah, I get it. Clean the screen. I can guarantee you this water heater was never maintained. Ever. And that's indicated by the amount of debris and combustion like junk in that combustion chamber. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And the best way to support this channel, hit that notification bell to get post notifications when I drop a video. And if you live in the Long Island, New York City metropolitan area, and you would like to attend one of our classes in person, email me, Mike at MikeyPipes.com. Thank you for watching. Be well. God bless. Stay safe.